Welcome to the Bio 103 course. This is a very fast-paced course. We are taking the normal 16-week semester and we are condensing it into 8 weeks. So before I go any further, I want to make sure that you are aware of the time commitments when doing a condensed course like this. When doing a condensed course, the commitments are still, or the expectations are still the same, but the time commitment is going to be more intense because we're taking that full 16 weeks, doing all the same things, but we're doing it in a much shorter amount of time. So typically the advice is when you're taking a course, plan for 1 to 3 hours of outside time for every credit hour in the course. So this being biology, we're a 3-credit course. The expectation is about 3 hours per week, but that goes up, especially if you are not confident in science, or it goes up when we have more challenging units, like Unit 3 on photosynthesis and aerobic cell respiration. Then we would expect for the time commitment, reading the textbook, making flashcards, doing a review of the concept, answering review questions. We could expect that to go from about 3 hours per week to anywhere between 6 to 9 hours. Now this is for a normal 16-week class. Since we're condensing everything, what this means is that at a minimum, you're looking at probably about 6 to 9 hours per week. And then during our more challenging units, you may find that you need to spend more time. So I hope that you've got the time available. I also want to make you aware of the rhythm here in the class. So we're going to be covering photosynthesis and cell respiration, Unit 3. And then right away we go into DNA biology and gene expression, Unit 4. These tend to be the most challenging units that we cover. It's not uncommon for people to struggle. These are challenging concepts. And so my advice is always to make sure that you can give yourself more time right at the moment when we're covering Unit 3 and Unit 4. If you can give yourself more time to work through the material, spend more time revisiting the material, looking at it on multiple days. You'll find that it clicks and sticks better, and you'll have a much more successful outcome in Unit 3 and Unit 4. And if you do well in those 2 units, your future self at the end of the semester will thank you. So Unit 3 and Unit 4 also tend to happen right about the middle of our semester. This is when, if you're taking other classes that may have big papers due or midterm exams, this is also the time when some of that sleep deprivation or stress starts to accumulate. And so right at that time when we're starting to feel the pressure is also when we start to hit some of the challenging units. So I want you to be aware going into this that right about the middle of the semester is when this class at least can seem pretty challenging. So we're taking those 16 weeks, condensing them down into 18 weeks. This means we are going to be doing a lot of work. So without further ado, let's get into that Eagle course site. So we take a look at our Eagle course site. Here we see our home page. And what you are going to notice on that home page is that what you will notice on this homepage is that I always keep some information, a little bit about what's coming up, things that we should encounter that week. I'll always have the due dates listed. And when you're here at this homepage, this is where I may have links to other resources. So you'll see here the link to the OpenStax Concepts in Biology textbook. This is the biology textbook that we are going to be using this semester. And I want to talk about that a little bit. So you can access it through the link here, or you can do it the way how I usually do it, which is to type OpenStax Concepts of Biology into Google, and you'll see my first link here. Now, this textbook is okay. It has some of the details, it has a lot of the information that we'll need, but the thing is that this textbook is missing a lot. It doesn't have a lot of the fancy videos, it doesn't have a lot of the accompanying sort of tutorials and things you might find with other textbooks. It leaves a lot of details out. So one of the things I've done is I've made lecture slides that give us more information and will give us more detail, because I know that this textbook is kind of lacking. Now you may be asking yourself, why are we using this textbook if you're really selling it to us? Like you're And the reason why we're using this textbook is because if you access it online, it's free. You can download a PDF of a chapter. So maybe you know that photosynthesis chapter is going to give you some trouble. So you can download just that information, print it out, take your notes, do your highlighting, but you don't have to have the whole textbook. So it allows us to be a little bit more specific. If you do want a hard copy, if you're one of those people where you just need that physical printed text in front of you, you can order a print copy directly from the company. I know the bookstore has some hard copy versions available as well. And what we like about this is that if you're one of those people who wants a print copy, they're not going to break the bank. They're about $20 to $30. If you're resourceful and you know the other places where you can get textbooks, I've heard that they are quite reasonable. And that's all I can say about that. So when you come to the textbook, most of the time you will be coming to the table of contents, and you will see that they've organized their textbook by chapters and then sections within those chapters. Please, please, please look at the syllabus schedule in order to figure out which textbook chapter and which sections we're covering, because the ordering here in the textbook is okay, but it doesn't flow as well as it could. So what you'll notice is that the way how I have this class flowing is I want all of the information to build upon previous information. So the stuff that we learned in the beginning about the scientific method, we will use that through the rest of the semester. When we get to the chemistry basics, we're going to use those concepts when we get to photosynthesis and aerobic cell respiration. Everything in this course builds on what we have learned before. And the thing that you're going to hear me say a lot is in this class, I don't let you forget nothing. So based on that, I want to make sure that the flow of this class makes sense and that we're always building on what we have learned before. And this is why you're going to find that we jump around in the textbook. The textbook doesn't do such a good job of continually building on information in previous chapters. So make sure that you access the textbook chapter. I would give it a skim. Most of the time what you're going to do is you're going to come to the Eagle course site and click on modules. So this course is arranged into modules. And when you click on the little arrow, you're going to see that it expands the unit, it expands the module, and then you have the information inside. Please make sure that you download the lecture slides. Download them to a laptop or a desktop. When you download them, click through them and play them as if you were in a face-to-face lecture hall. The reason why you need to download these is because if you view them in the Canvas Eagle software, what we have found is that the Canvas Eagle software will lose slides. It won't show every single slide, and you won't necessarily be able to click to the videos that I have embedded in the lecture slides. And so we're finding that the Eagle Canvas software, it just doesn't have all of the functionality. So please make sure to download the PowerPoints or lecture slides onto a laptop, onto a device, and play them. That way you're getting all of the information. Please make sure to take notes on the lecture slides as you work through them as well, just like you would if you were in a lecture hall. So here we have the welcome module, and I want to expand Unit 1 so you can get a better sense of the other things that we'll be doing. Here's our lecture slides. Based off of the lecture slides will be practice assignments. There's one practice assignment for every set of lecture slides. For the practice assignments, you can start them, leave them halfway through, come back, leave them again. You can come and go as you please. Now we do have hard deadlines, and so when you click submit or when the deadline passes, Canvas Eagle will send me that assignment to be reviewed and graded. You get 2 attempts on every practice assignment. It's exactly what you think it is. It's practice with the concepts in the textbook chapter and the lecture slides. You'll see that I've got videos. These videos go into depth with specific concepts that are being covered in our lecture slides. So the rhythm for this course, I think that works really well, is to download and play those lecture slides, take your notes, make your flashcards, watch the videos, and then come in and do the practice assignments. Once you have submitted the practice assignments, once I have graded them, please make sure to revisit these and review any concepts that you were struggling with. Sometimes they will have homework associated, and so here we see in Unit 1, we're going to have an application of the scientific method. Homework assignments are meant to give you more practice and more application, more work with a very specific set of concepts. So here in the Science and Life lecture, we'll talk about the characteristics of life, we'll talk about taxonomy and a whole lot of things. But I know it's the scientific method that people need practice with, and this is one of those core expectations from a science class, that you know how to use and apply the scientific method. Okay, homework assignments, you only get one attempt. Homework assignments, you can leave and come back, leave and come back. Eagle will submit those when you click submit or when the due date passes. Scrolling down a little bit here through Unit 1, the next thing you will see are quizzes. So for every set of lecture slides, we have a timed quiz, and this is meant to give you preparation for the exam, but in a smaller chunk. So quiz 1 only has questions about the Science and Life lecture slides and that scientific method practice. I'm sorry, the Science and Life practice and the scientific method application. So it's very focused, and if you study before you come to the quiz, this will help you to know and send you signal about how prepared you are for the exam. So we've got timed quizzes for each of our lecture slides. When you click on a timed quiz, that quiz must be completed all at once. You cannot leave and return. It very much is like coming in and sitting for an exam. So treat these little quizzes like mini exams, and hopefully that will help you be prepared for the exam. Come back and review those questions, especially anything that you didn't know very well, or things that you were struggling with. Now, this is a convenient interruption. You're going to notice in my videos, I've got some cats that come and hang out with me. This is Hey Duke, and right now is when he likes to be lovey-dovey, when he likes to get some cuddles. So he's just going to hang out with us here and hopefully help us talk about the exam. Exams for this class will open on Sundays at 5 a.m. They will close Mondays at 11:59 p.m. Now, exams generally will take about an hour to complete. So at any time during the open window, please complete the exam. Set aside that hour. Just like a timed quiz, once you start the exam, you have to complete it. You can't leave and return and leave and return. You have to do it all at once. The exam questions will be based on the lecture slides, on the practice assignments, the homework assignments, the quizzes. So set aside that hour in your life, study hard before you take the exam. I hope you don't have any interruptions, and you can just not have a kitty on your lap while you're trying to focus on that exam. I'm going to collapse Unit 1 here and talk about some other things on the Eagle course site. Another place you might come is you might come to the announcements page. On the announcements page, you can see I've got these helpful links and phone numbers. So this will give you links to the tutoring center, academic advising, and if you would like a certified counselor who keeps all of the conversations confidential, Andrea McCauley can be reached through that phone number. I think is the best way to get a hold of her. Some other things that are interesting here, or you might want to know about on the announcements page. I've got the updated information to the Life Science Resource Room. In the JCSM building, we have a room dedicated to science students. So if you're taking the Bio 104 lab, there's some supplies, some microscopes and things that you can use. But also in the Life Science Resource Room are computers that are always being updated, so they have all of the software that you need. Everything, all of the images will show, all of the functions in Canvas Eagle will work. So you may want to come in to that Life Science Resource Room knowing that those computers will work for the homework that you need to do for this class and any other RVC class. The other thing you may need it for is printing. There are printers available, but you do have to bring your own paper. So those hours and where it's located are posted here. I'm also posting some links to some interesting articles that you may want to read. And also, I will be posting here internships or these things called REUs, where you get paid to go and work in a researcher's lab, kind of get some of that professional experience. So REU stands for Research Experience for Undergraduates. These are paid positions, and sometimes they include pay for travel and food, and they include housing. So you can go other places in the country, work with professionals, start to develop that professional network, and still get paid. So I love, love, love these. Lots of RVC students have done REUs, and so I'll be posting information here on the announcements page of our Eagle course site. Now, I just want to show a couple of ways that students sometimes access assignments, and if this works for you, use it. If it doesn't, you can ignore this. So one place people will click is they will click on quizzes. It's all the same information. Everything that you see in the modules, it's just arranged a little differently. But if this works for you, please, by all means, use it. So what we can see here is we can see our practice assignments, our homeworks, our exams, our quizzes. Everything is listed here under quizzes. Now, one of the things that's frustrating about Eagle Canvas is that anything I build, whether it's a homework assignment or an exam, it calls everything a quiz. I don't have any flexibility to call it anything else. So what you're seeing here is that even though I have assignments that are definitely practice, Eagle's going to call it a quiz. So I'm sorry for that. That's just the way how Eagle works. So here's our quizzes, if this is the way you want to find the work that's due in this class. The other thing you can click on is you can click on assignments. This is going to show all the same information, but again, it's going to show it in a slightly different format. So maybe this works for you. Here you can see all the practice assignments. Here's all the homework assignments. Here's all our quizzes. And if I keep going, there's exams, and there's a place to put the extra credit. Now, I don't personally like this format. I find that this is a little bit challenging. To me, I like modules in order to see how the course is organized and keep track of the due dates. One thing I did want to point out here, coming back to modules, is the helpful documents and links. So these are a lot of the links that I showed you before. And if you're interested in extra credit for this class, you can click here. It will give you a description of the assignments that you can do for this class. The one thing that I want to point out is that those assignments emphasize the amount and the way how you make specific connections between your extra credit experience and the class. So you can get up to 2% of your full course grade in extra credit, but please make sure that you're paying attention to the emphasis on specific connections. One more place you may want to go here on the Eagle course site is to click on people. If you wanted to reach out to people in this class to form a study group, to maybe talk about some of the things that you're learning that maybe it's not clicking for you, but having a conversation with somebody else who's in the class, that might help. If you click on people, it will give you their names and their email addresses. Now, I know that it's really challenging to reach out to people that you've never met, especially in an online course. So in the syllabus, what I've done is I've given you a format, how you can phrase an email in order to reach out to people, in order to do that kind of cold call situation. So please use that format if you want to reach out to some of your colleagues. Forming a study group is such a wonderful thing to do. So many students find it very, very, very helpful. So contact people, get that study group early, because you know Unit 3 and Unit 4 is coming, and those are going to be challenging. You may appreciate having your study group on those days when you're trying to learn photosynthesis, gene expression, and keep it all straight in your mind. Okay, so that's our Eagle course site. We've talked about our textbook. The last few things to remind you about with this course: please do not do any assignments on your phone. The Eagle Canvas app can be great for keeping track of a to-do list, reminding you about when assignments are due. It can be a wonderful tool, but it can't adapt to every single phone. There's so many different types of phones. So please, please, please make sure that you are always doing assignments on a laptop, a desktop. You want to make sure that you can see all the images and you can have all the Canvas Eagle functionality. The other thing is make sure that you are clearing your browser history and cookies weekly. Canvas Eagle won't show images. It will stop certain things from working if we aren't clearing our browser history and clearing our cookies. So make sure to get all that cleared on a weekly basis so that the Eagle Canvas app can work. Okay. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You've got my email address here. You'd be surprised what I can answer through email. One of the things that we all talk about is this idea that if we don't hear anything from you, we assume everything is going well or going as expected. So if you're struggling, if you have any questions about anything, please let us know. We can't read your mind. So unless we hear from you, we assume everything is going okay. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And if you don't like me, that's okay. We've got Andrea McCauley. We've got a tutoring center. We've got lots of other people who want to be able to help. I hope that this is a great semester. I look forward to meeting you electronically.